The last topic. This is a short episode this week. I like that. Blowing through shit. So I gotta open up.
Chocolate piglet.
I gotta open up
Can of worms.
Google Chrome here because my topic here is another one that is inspired by the folks of Kind of Funny on PS I Love You XOXO a couple episodes ago, or last week's episode. By the time you guys are watching this, it was 2 weeks ago. They talked about they ranked their most anticipated upcoming PlayStation exclusive games. So we're not going to do exactly that. That would be another hour of us sort of sitting down, listing shit, and then talking about it and whatnot. I wish we could do that. I did not do this. I did not prepare this topic well. I didn't give you guys a lot of heads up because I sort of just thought about it yesterday. So I'm going to go through the list.
Woody Allen, innocent?
So I'm going to go through the list of PlayStation upcoming. Let me start this again.
Is this our gaming special?
Hey, I'm Grump.
I'm going to go through the I'm Not So Grump. And we are...
We want to kill ourselves.
And we are improv comedians. I'm going to go through the PlayStation...
You're a coward, Mickey. Always were.
We're going to go through the upcoming PlayStation exclusive games, where we're going to talk about our most anticipated one out of all of them. So we've got Dragon Quest Builders.
That one.
Bloodborne 2.
We're just going through announced stuff. So The Last Guardian. Bloodborne. I'm sure they're working on Bloodborne 2, but
Bloodborne 2, The Bloods is Borns.
I think they're gonna start doing Armored Core stuff, which is fine. I will just
they're working on 3 different.
Bring back 3D Game Heroes.
Right.
No, actually, Demon Souls 2.
So
Demon Souls 2. This time it's harder.
So The Last Guardian, What Remains of Edith Finch, Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War, Spider-Man, Death Stranding, Final Fantasy VII,
Tifa.
Days Gone, Crash Bandicoot Remaster, Detroit Become Human, Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice,
That one. That's the
Rime,
greatest thing I've ever heard of.
Let It Die, Wild.
Daniel.
What the fuck? There's a lot of games here that I guess I'll just end it with Dreams. Dreams is that
That thing.
that weird build a level thing, whatever. Very artistic game.
Procedurally generated.
So I want to go through all 3 of us to talk about our most anticipated PlayStation exclusive game that's been announced. You can't cheat and be like, I want Bloodborne 2.
God damn it, that's not cheating.
Every game is announced.
All right, fine. Knack 2.
So Henry, what is your most anticipated PlayStation 4 exclusive?
WWF No Mercy.
All right. He gets to go after Spider-Man.
You're Spider-Man? Okay.
Spider-Man.
Why?
Spider-Man.
You know what's funny about these off Marvel games is I'm always interested to see their kind of edgy interpretation of other Marvel characters, and since this one's going to be offbeat from the movies, they kind of have their own free range to do whatever. I want to see what characters they'll include. I want to see what
In this new version, Mysterio is a rapist.
Whoa!
They already did that to Dr. Light in the DC universe, so
Yeah.
That's weird.
But I do want
Welcome to Identity Crisis, guys. Strap in.
I do want Mysterio at some point interpreted in a realistic fashion, not rapey. Henry
Gets punched once and loses.
yeah, pretty much.
Greatest boss fight in history.
I'm really excited for Spider-Man as well.
Carnage. I need Carnage.
I'm not going to say what is my most anticipated, but that's not it.
Venom.
It's not yet. I'll reveal it in a couple minutes. But
Shocker.
I am very excited for the Spider-Man game and the relationship it will have with the Spider-Man movie, because it doesn't really, they both just coexist.
Yeah.
It reminds me a lot of Dark Knight and Batman Arkham Asylum, where those just sort of both existed, and so...
This reminds me, I should play Web of Shadows sometime.
Oh god, Web of Shadows is so good.
It was surprisingly good.
A lot of people shit on,
I played the DS version, which was also fun, actually.
It was
really? Huh.
We need
Yeah, I
another
played the
maximum
360.
carnage.
Better combat
played-
than you'd expect.
I played the definitive version, which was on the 360. That game is so fucking good.
I'm going to get it on PS3. Because I hate everything.
Well, I didn't have a PS3, so that's just...
I'm going to get it on Wii.
No, fuck you. And then you have to play the worst Spider-Man game afterwards, which
Spider-Man
is
3.
Shattered Dimensions. Spider-Man 3 is actually a good game.
I played it on the Wii.
Well, that's your problem. You play games on a fucking shitty console. Anyway, so more about Spider-Man. What else are you excited about?
Spitman.
So everyone's
And what villains would you like? What are you excited about? And then what villains would you want to see?
Shocker.
we're going to see him in the movie anyway. Everyone's putting it up to be as basically the Arkham equivalent for Spider-Man as
Yes.
Arkham did for Batman. So I'm like, ooh.
And it's a fucking Sony exclusive. That's fucking crazy.
If we're gonna be putting it up to those standards, then the combat mechanics and swinging mechanics better be goddamn good. I'm looking at you,
come on.
Spider-Man 2, as for an example.
Yes.
Mysterio.
And also, like, I think Web of Shadows was really good, and I think Spider-Man 3 was also really good. But it's not like they added anything new. They just built off of what 2 did.
Mysterio, but they changed some things about him. Now he's a lucha wrestler and wears a mask, and it's actually Rey Mysterio.
Oh my god!
This game's weird.
But for
You were
villains,
really waiting to do that joke, weren't you?
Yeah.
but for villains, I'm hoping they already have Venom
What
as.
wrestling joke you got?
I want Venom and Eddie Brock as an already established thing, so they can finally have Carnage. I want Carnage. Carnage. That, or if they're gonna stick to basic characters, then it'd be nice to see some cool story plot points, not necessarily a boss battle with Chameleon
I want a weird
And
side
Mysterio.
quest involving Mobius.
or MODOK.
See, what I want from Spider-Man is
Is
like
it
I know
Mobius
like
or Morbius?
Mobius.
like this game is going to be compared a lot to Batman Arkham, and for like good reasons and whatnot. And I think one of the things that the Spider-Man game should look at is how to integrate villains well
Yes.
into the story and not force them in.
Yeah.
And that because that's what Arkham Asylum did so well, right? It's
Yeah.
like it made sense of like why these characters were a part of the story. Granted, it was very easy; they were at Arkham Asylum, but you know, like they didn't just shove down your throat like
Arkham
here's
City.
also like fucking Two-Face, and here's also this guy, and
Hey,
fucking
Solomon Grundy's here.
Solomon Grundy, born on a Monday, like fucking fuck you.
Solomon Grundy, all I want is
Court of
a
Owls here.
Sunday.
Here's
God,
Hush.
I wanted at least a Court of Owls Easter egg in Batman Arkham Knight,
Just
and
a
it
mask.
never fucking happened.
Or you fight
They
Talon.
added in the remakes.
I wouldn't hate that. What I'm thinking of actually in the remakes is what if they like when you go through Arkham Asylum, you know how like and spoilers for Arkham Knight, like Jason Todd talks about how he's in like the abandoned wing in Arkham. What if at one point you hear like Jason Todd screams and you don't realize like they sort of allude to that it's Jason Todd, but like Batman as himself doesn't realize
You
who
just
it is.
hear, oh, that must be Jason Todd getting beaten by the Joker to be someday turned into the Arkham Knight. Buy it in stores now.
Joker
fuck, I
and his
hate marketing.
crowbar.
I hate marketing.
You would buy it just for that moment.
Because it'd be so fucking funny. Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
For some reason, this happens during the Scarecrow section.
So
It all connects.
like I really want them to like integrate villains well, and to have interesting boss fights. I think that's one of the problems that every Spider-Man game has had is like they don't know how to make a good Spider-Man boss fight with those mechanics, like exploring the open world and like fighting.
I
just
thought
regular-
Ultimate Spider-Man did a pretty good job with it.
Actually, yeah.
That's true.
Except
like
the,
Ultimate
the
Spider-Man.
Electro Chase.
No one likes the Electro.
The Electro Chase was in
That was Ultimate
Yeah,
Spider-Man.
Ultimate Spider-Man.
That's where he was like,
Oh God, there's
He was
two
blue.
Electro Chases. So there's Ultimate Spider-Man, and then there's also Web of Shadows.
yeah.
Now I don't want to play Web of Shadows.
Yeah.
Web of Shadows is so good. And so, but I will say, like the final boss fight for Web of Shadows, where it is a lot of quick time events.
Yeah.
But it's still like it's fun, and you can choose like they make you redo some quick time events, but there are some quick time events you can choose not to do, and that really alters like how that game turns out, and I think that's really fucking cool. Yeah, just like, and that I know we're sort of going on a tangent here. We're going on a sidebar, but that's why I was
Call me pre-cal because we're going on a tangent.
That's why I was never impressed with Infamous, because Infamous was always built on this like open world, taking down sections, very like superhero like mechanics, and then you're constantly choosing between good choices and bad choices. And like a lot of people like Second Son, a lot of people like Infamous 2, and some people like Infamous. like I was never impressed with that because when I finally played Second Son, I was like, I played this game like 6 years ago. It's called Web of Shadows. Where this exact game was.
But bro, you got to spray the paint can. It's like the new generation.
This
of
is
gaming.
like the next generation of gaming. This
You-
this totally changes gameplay of being able to
What was
shake your can.
Second Son was the fire guy, right? He was the
Second
fire
Son
guy.
was the fucking.
It was the one where hey,
Native-
you're in Seattle and you look exactly like someone in that game.
Hey,
Eminem.
this game is gonna give Native Americans bad names because they fucking this main character is a piece of shit. Yeah, Dustin was a dumb character. So
Now I'm trying to think about who he looked exactly like because he looked exactly like someone.
what else are you excited about for the Spider-Man PS4 game?
Mechanics, boss fights, and
Collecting tokens.
I guess that would be it. But I guess like if they keep comparing it to the Arkham series, which is what I'm afraid about, is like sometimes what would sometimes make the boss battles in those games really great is like the range of like gadgets Batman had that you had to utilize and kind of out of intuition use, and that's what made him fun and variable. Spider-Man just kind of.
I'm gonna be upset if there's not an Easter egg to Ratchet and Clank, like what Sucker Punch did in
Oh yeah,
in
with,
Infamous Second Son, where you can find like the Sly.
yeah, where
logo.
they like the Sly is spray painted somewhere. That would be really cool. I imagine because Insomniac's really cheeky with that kind of shit. So you imagine
They're
that.
cheeky about a lot of shit.
Yeah. So and that's why I'm so excited for.
You're Buzz Osborne from the Melvins.
And that's what I'm most excited about for this game is that
In the flesh.
everybody thought it was going to be
Sucker Punch.
Sucker Punch because they basically made 3 Spider-Man games. They basically made 3 Spider-Man Web of Shadow games, and so, but it was a left turn and ended up being Insomniac, and I think that's so fucking rad because Second Son was okay. I think that's probably like the smoothest gameplay probably out of the 3 of those, just because it's the most like modernized, just with gameplay at least. But I really think Insomniac has a master class in like gameplay.
They also have experience with Sunset Overdrive.
Exactly, and Sunset Overdrive are more of like real person mechanics.
I have that game. I still need to play it.
A lot of people enjoy it. It's
King Buzzo from the Melvins.
A lot of people consider it like one of the better Xbox One exclusives. So
Like up there with Halo 5.
So the biggest example I'll say about like Insomniac is like master of gameplay is Ratchet and Clank that came out this year. Like a lot of games like falter because they add like in the final boss fight they'll add like one new mechanic that you have to like fucking add, and it's just like why
Sly
was this-
3 was the fucking worst about that.
Yeah, and then also Jack and Dexter, Jack 2,
I wouldn't know.
Jack 3. There's one of those games where it's just like fucking like, why was this added last minute? And Ratchet and Clank did not do that. Ratchet and Clank's final boss fight was putting everything that you had learned in the entire game finally together, and that's why I like Donkey Kong 64.
It was
'cause
like a test.
Yeah, it would put everything that you learned from Donkey Kong 64 to a test.
There's a game
And-
I beat recently that did that.
And like Ratchet and Clank, like I was thinking about that entire boss fight where you're constantly like doing like shooting and flying at the same time and all this stuff. It never felt like it felt like a lot, but it never felt overcomplicated, and it felt so good and natural.
You know what felt so good about that? About when you did it in that game? Challenge did it on the challenge mode with the Rhino rocket.
I
killed him in a second.
So I do want to replay Ratchet and Clank soon. My plan is every game that I want to nominate for Game of the Year, I'm going to try to play through one more time.
Ratchet and Clank is currently my winner for it.
So I want to play through Ratchet and Clank, Uncharted.
Kirby.
Yeah, I gotta borrow Kirby from you. Maybe Deus Ex. Deus Ex was really long though. I don't know if but some of these later games, like maybe Mafia 3 and maybe Dishonored 2, I won't play through. Just some of the earlier year games.
I won't play through. I'll just name them the best.
Yeah. Maybe like replay some of the games that came out earlier in the year. Maybe rent Doom again just to freshen it up in my mind.
I still need to buy it.
Oh, so good. So my most anticipated PlayStation exclusive game is God of War. I am so fucking excited for God of War. I have never in my life been interested in a God of War game whatsoever. I remember when the first God of War game came out. all of my friends were super into that game.
Yeah, because it had tits and blood.
Exactly.
And a sex mini game.
High five, tits and blood.
I fucking came from the Midwest where, I was surrounded by guys who were constant, were growing up and were interested in violence and sex and shit. And so a lot of my friends were into that shit, and I saw it and I was just like, it doesn't look fun.
All of your Ohio friends were like, yeah, God of War, blood, tits, and sex. Yeah, Degeneration X.
Yeah, exactly. And so this is the first time that I am actually so fucking excited for a God of War game because they have changed up the bones of that game entirely, God of War always looked to me like a hack and slash sort of beat 'em up sort of game. And
it was definitely like it was a spectacle fighter to the bone. Like it didn't for me it doesn't do it as well as Devil May Cry did. Devil May Cry got that kind of fighting down to a T.
Yeah.
Also, I really love the fighting in Mad World. I want another Mad World game.
Mad World was fun.
But the reason I'm so excited for God of War is because in the first, we got to watch Sony opened up their E3 conference with God of War gameplay. And it's like the first 10 minutes.
Find my blade.
And it seems like the fighting is going to be way more personal and way more just like.
Are you doing okay?
Well, no, way more grounded and way more a lot like the Last of Us in a way, where every encounter you have with clickers and whatnot is very important. Right, it's not like Uncharted where it's just fucking rounds and rounds and rounds of shit. Like every encounter you have with a villain is important because you have to think about it.
That reminds me of one of my favorite things that really bad spin-off games of fighting games do.
What?
Where they have it play as a beat 'em up, but they keep the controls of a fighting game. Some really funny examples is Mortal Kombat Chronicles with Sub-Zero, where every fight you still have to play like a fighting game. But the funniest one is there's a wrestling game that has a storyline mode where you still have to have them tap out. It's hysterical, especially because you can play as
tap out in the streets.
So yeah, I'm really excited for God of War because I think it's going to be a more what's his name, Kratos?
Yeah.
He has always seemed like this really just fucking angry guy all the time. And
now he's got a beard. He's Beard Dad.
Now he's a Beard Dad, just much like Marcus Phoenix.
Did he have a goatee previously?
Yeah, he sort of had the douche goatee, but now
this
he's got,
is my fuck goatee.
But now he has full on beard. He looks old, and he's got a son, and it's going to be a lot like this.
And he's a hot dad.
It reminds me a lot of what how the relationship grows in The Last of Us, right? And that's I'm so excited for because of that father-son relationship to see how this relationship grows, because obviously from how Kratos talks to his son, it's not like he cares for him, but he is very stern and whatnot. He always has those moments of do I pat my son on the back? What do I do here? How do I raise my son to have him be a man and defend himself, but also show fatherly love?
That's
just so fucking cool.
I just had the stupidest thing go through my head. Fast of Us Double Dash.
Fuck you.
Ellie, give me the brick.
And that's the cool
I just made
thing
a good game.
A lot of people are comparing Days Gone with The Last of Us because it's another fucking
zombies.
Even though The Last of Us, they're technically clickers, and it's more of
they're fungi.
Yeah,
they're all a bunch of fun guys.
And then technically in Days Gone, they're they're not zombies. They're I don't know.
Fast die young. Bad puns do it well.
Shut up. There's something else, but people still can undead basically, and they're oh yeah, they're ripping off The Last of Us so much. And it's sort of, I guess, but I think God of War is actually ripping off The Last of Us even more, just because of tone and themes that they're playing at, and gameplay mechanics and whatnot. Obviously, you're not gonna have guns and shit. It's fucking God of War, but just the more grounded. Every interaction, villain interaction you have, is important.
I remember when Joel fought Zeus.
Yeah. So that's why I'm very excited for God of War. I hope I hope for a late, like, I hope this is a fall 2017 game, and you know what? They're probably going to announce it as a fall 2017 game, and then it's going to get delayed for quarter 1 2018.
Is Kratos still canonically the God of War? Because I know he took that title from like Ares or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
So he's just a god who's just living with Vikings or whatever this setting
Bind
is.
thy blade.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly see, like, again, I've never really played a God of War game for more than a couple of hours. So, like, and it seems like they're trying to make this like anybody can jump on it at this point. So that's why I'm really excited for God of War. Henry, round us up.
Last Guardian because I hate myself.
But why? But why?
Because at this point, I feel like I'm obligated.
All around me,
You just gotta defend it at this point.
At this point, I'm like, I've waited so long, I have to play it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like, I won't buy it. I will borrow it from you.
I don't think it's going to be a bad game.
I think it will be okay. I think that's the best it could possibly be is okay.
It's not going to be Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah, and
the
that's
best
the thing
game.
is, like, I don't think it, like, Ico and Shadow of the Colossus are definitely, like, if you go back to those games, they don't hold up.
Shadow of the Colossus holds up. It does. Because I played it earlier this year.
I think weird camera controls and the whole, like,
Aggro.
climbing up sort of thing.
I like the climbing. It makes it feel more of a... Like, it's one of those games where the story works with the gameplay.
Okay.
Aggro.
I don't know. I just don't, like, in a modern space, like, I don't think they hold up well. But I won't deny, like, what they did for video games in, like, those times. I don't think The Last Guardian's going to... When Last Guardian comes out, I don't think it's going to be like, yo, this is, like, a game changer for video games.
What they really need to do is make the Shadow of the Colossus meat and fuck game. Romance Gaius.
You find a little mark on it.
So I think The Last Guardian will be okay. I don't think it's going to be great by any means. I don't think it's legit going to be like a Game of the Year status type of game, but I think it'll be like a solid 6-5.
All games are Game of a Year.
That's true. That's very true.
We changed the name to Games of the Year, and it's just us listing games that came out this year. Lego Marvel Avengers.
The Lego Harry Potter collection for PS4.
Firewatch.
I forgot Firewatch happened. God, did you play through that entire game? God.
No, I already played through the Unfinished Swan.
Yeah.
You played through a better game. Thank you. Yeah, Firewatch was... that was another game that just existed.
Didn't even watch Fires.
No. Did you see it? Did you see that they're trying to make a movie off of Firewatch now?
What?
Yeah.
It's been like 2 days.
Yeah. And again, when I played through that game, I was like, this would be better as a movie because you'd be able to tighten up the story and maybe, introduce elements like...
Why does this game look like a Ford advertisement?
Just because Ford actually used art from Firewatch, like stole art from Firewatch to advertise. Right. Oh my God, that's so fucking funny. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Talking Shit. Remember, it's BCG's weekly podcast where we bring in random topics of discussion. We talk some shit about those topics. If you like that, head on over to patreon.com/BCG. Give us $1 a month, and you get you get an exclusive episode every month. But also, if you throw a couple more dollars at us, you get every episode of Talking Shit early. In full audio form before it goes up on YouTube, where it's broken up topic by topic Monday through Thursday, and before the entire audio version of the episode goes up for everybody on Friday on SoundCloud, RSS feed, and Stitcher. Will we ever be on iTunes? Fuck no, because they never got back to me. So, and this was my second time trying to get our podcast on iTunes, and this, like, at least the first time they were courteous in the first 12 hours to be like, yeah, no, you have shit in your title. But this time they just never got back to me. So, and I'm now realizing
it's the bad word, people.
Talking
Stop.
poopy.
And now I'm realizing that at the beginning of this episode, I did not do the rigmarole. It's okay. We spent a lot of time in the beginning of the episode.
Stitcher.
Sort of fucking around. Stitcher. Also, I totally forgot to do a shout out last week on the show.
I'm going to take pictures of my cat.
What? No, just stay here for a couple minutes. Shout out.
I'm going to take pictures of Henry's cat.
No.
He's faster.
I forgot to shout out Danny Juarez, the guy who pays us on Patreon to get a shout out in every episode. I totally forgot to shout him out last week. I apologize for that, Danny Juarez. Danny Juarez, by the time this video goes up, Danny Juarez will be at my house later today. Danny Juarez is coming to visit us, I think for work purposes, and I think he might be going to the IGN house party. I might be going to the IGN house party, which is this Saturday. So if you want to come hang out with me at the IGN house party celebrating 20 years of IGN, I might be there. Sean Pitch will definitely be there, and some other people. So, but also,
I'll
Danny
walk
Juarez,
in and get kicked out.
Danny Juarez, good friend of the show. You can follow him on Twitter at StokedDanny. He is a frequent. He appears frequently on Illustrious Magic. I'm not too sure if he's an actual host of that podcast. I don't.
Effects for George Lucas.
That's ILM. Ilm. I know someone who works at Ilm. Ilm. So anyway, shout out to you, Danny Juarez. I miss you, and I'm excited to see you by the time this video goes up later today. Anyway, Max Henry, thank you so much for joining me this week. And thank you guys for joining us this week on Talking Shit. I hope to see you guys next week for some more shit talking. But until then, keep talking shit. Thank you.